Good morning, Patriots. How are you today? This is Mike Cook coming to you live from Central Missouri. How are you today? Mike the Patriot coming to you live. It is approximately 8:29 a.m. on 4/21/21. Hope you're having a wonderful day. It looks like it's a beautiful day here in Central Missouri after being down to the mid-20s and snow yesterday. It's going to be in the 50s today. Springtime in Missouri. If you don't like the weather, hang on, it'll change. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. As you're coming on, say hi. Where you're watching from. If you're new, let me know. I love reaching out to people saying hi. If you're watching me on Facebook, do me a favor, share this video. You know, Facebook is squashing me. I can watch the reach grow because they give you analytics. And as soon as it gets to about 1,000 or so, boom, turns off. I can't even read the comments anymore once it gets that far. It's amazing. So it's just the way it is. I'm playing on the enemy's playground, so you have to deal with the enemy rules. You know, with some of my videos on my other platforms are starting to take off now, so we'll see what happens. But if you're on Facebook right now, and do me a favor. If you're not following me, follow me. That way you can get notifications. And probably if you get the notification and you click on it, like I did with Brad last night and another one of my friends that was on, I clicked on it and it wouldn't take me to it. I had to go to his page, or his wife's page in this case, and find the video, scroll down and find the video. It just wouldn't let me go to it. That's a form of shadow banning. That's what they do. So anyways, you might have to take an extra step. But also you could follow me on the YouTubes. This is me, you know, with the little A10 says Mike Cook. That's me on YouTube. Again, that's me on YouTube. Go over there. If you're watching right now on YouTube, because I live stream on both at the same time. If you're watching me on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so that you'll know when I'm live, and share the video from there. Also, give me the thumbs up, maybe comment, let me know where you're watching from. I do appreciate everybody that does watch that over there. Every video gets loaded to Rumble. Check me out on Rumble. Rumble's still where freedom exists for now. And Telegram. Telegram is important. It is important that you go over to Telegram and you check me out there, because that's where freedom is. Also, I put all my thoughts, all my organization, everything over there on Telegram, and that way I can kind of organize everything for my show. And a lot of stuff over there does not make it. So please, please, please go over to Telegram and follow me over there. Also, I put my video up on Telegram also while I'm over there. I've shared the link in the comments, and I'll try to do that several times as we go on today. I do appreciate everybody jumping on as I get through my other things, and we've got nearly 100 people on, so that's pretty cool. No, I don't have the reach Brad does, because he started out with a bigger base than me. That's okay. It's growing. Every single day, I add another person that follows me, or 10 or 20 or whatever, on all of my channels, which is good. And I'm even thinking about starting to do some TikToks. My daughter does TikToks, so I have to ask her how to do TikToks. That'll be fun. I bet I can piss off some liberals there. Anyways, I already got some idea. How about this for a TikTok? You know, you got to do a TikTok. You got to do it a minute long, right? You got to fit it in a minute, right? Well, how about this for a TikTok? I can say something along the lines of, "Hey, TikTok, I've noticed that all of these police shootings that have happened around the country, where an officer shoots and kills a bad guy or a good guy, whichever the case may be, I've noticed something in common with all of these. Every single time the person resists. So my advice is that if an officer asks you to do something, do it as if your life depends on it, because you don't know what kind of training that Barney Fife behind the guns had, and your life just might depend on it. Live long enough to hire an attorney." How about that for a TikTok? What do you think? Might just do it. We'll see what happens. Never done one. We'll see what happens. I can't usually get my thoughts out that quick. It takes me a little bit to develop things. Anyways, so yesterday, if you watched my video, and even if you haven't watched it, scroll down after this video and watch the video I did yesterday evening at 7 o'clock-ish. A good friend of mine named Andy, I interviewed him. He was in D.C., and he talked about how the things that happened in D.C. that weren't exactly reported I'm talking in January, on the news, right? Just maybe we're being told not the truth, right? Of course, many of you already know that. But he also talked about how the FBI came and visited him, and the Secret Service and the DOJ, and he had lots of things going on there. They tried to get him fired from his job. There's all kinds of things going on, and he talked about that. It was a very compelling story. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But as I'm getting off that video, my wife sends me this. It's from Brad Barton. It says, Kristen, that's his wife, answered the door this AM to say, hi, ma'am, we're here to see Brad Barton. We're with the FBI. So just as I get done talking to my buddy who the FBI has visited several times, even though he did nothing wrong, he never entered the Capitol, I get that message from my wife that was on Brad Barton's page. Now, what the heck? What in the highfalutin country is going on around here? This is not right. I'm just saying. So I went and watched Brad's video, and this is the part. What's going on around here? It's not letting me do what I want it to do. Hold on a second.
These pooters.
Okay. I got Brad coming on here, and all right, let me fast forward it to where he gets talking. I apologize. So here's Brad, and here's his story about what happened with the FBI.
Oh, I'm not smarter than these pooters, I'm telling you. Okay, so here's the deal. So let me just tell you what happened today. So Kristen, I've been up half the night, as I usually am. I go to bed about 3 a.m. I get up around noon or a little before. And Kristen come in at 10 this morning, my wife, and said, hey, the FBI is at the door. And woke me up. And I was kind of like, what are you talking about? She said, the FBI is at the door. They want to talk to you. I'm like, what in the world do they want? I haven't done anything. And so I get up, put on some clothes, put a ball cap on. I go in there, and Kristen made them stand outside. She wouldn't let them in. That's a good thinking by her. So they were standing outside on the front porch. They came up to the front of the house, which nobody ever does that, especially if you are friends. You come through the garage. So they came up to the front of the house. And so she said, so I said, tell them to come on in. I'm ready. So we all sat here in the pool room here where the pool table is, and we sit in there, and they come in and they said, sir, I'm Office Agent so-and-so and Agent so-and-so, with the FBI. We need to ask you some questions. And I said, well, let me see your badge. So they flip out their badge, and it was a lady and a man. And I looked at both of them, and I remember I had the man's in my hand. He handed it to me, the whole thing. It was like a folding thing folded out. And I looked at both and I said, well, it's not like I would know if they were fake or counterfeit anyway. So so I folded it up and threw it back to him. And they said, well, we just need to ask you some questions. And I said, well, I was told that if the FBI showed up at your house, you don't answer any question without having an attorney present, without your lawyer. So, and they said, well, sir, you have the constitutional right to do that, but you're not in any trouble. We're just looking to see if you could help us with some leads. And I said, well, yeah, that's right. General Flint said, don't talk to him. He did. And I just kind of went with my gut here. And I just said, okay, well, what you got? And she said, well, were you in DC on the 6th? And I said, yeah, I was in Washington, DC. She said, well, she knew that. She said that we saw your video that you posted on Facebook. You remember where I showed all the 300,000 people okay, up at the Ellipse. And I said, yeah. So, yeah, I was there. And she said, but uh, did you do anything wrong, or did you go in the Capitol or anything like that? And I said, no, ma'am, I haven't been nowhere. In fact, I said, I was not even at the Capitol. We had to get over there like 5:30 in the morning, and I'd been up half the night. I was dead, okay, because my sleep schedule's off. And so I had to get up real early, and then we had to get over there, and we stood out there freezing to death for 6 hours. And I said, in fact, I didn't even hear the president speak that day, because my buddy that was with me was feeling sick at his stomach. He wanted to go back to the hotel room, and I was dead tired. So we just left, and we went back to the hotel. I watched it. I watched what happened at the hotel. And, so I said, I mean, I wasn't even over there. I don't know nothing about it. And they said, okay, well, that's good. We're just wondering if you saw anything or if you knew anything. And, I was waiting on them to try to ask me, who are you with? Which I wasn't going to tell them. I was just going to say, if they asked me that, I was just going to say, well, I'm not going to get into that. That's not something I'm saying. But they didn't. I was surprised. And they said, well, we just got to follow all these leads. Now, guys, this is 2 months. Wait, this is 3 months later, 90 days later, 100 days later. Okay. Yeah, I know they tried to trick you into something, but trust me, I was again, I just went with my gut. If they'd asked me something I didn't want to answer, I wouldn't have answered it. I just said, I'm going to use an attorney. But I didn't. Because they said, you're not in trouble. We just want to ask you. And I said, well, I'll tell you this. I never saw one person, sir. I never met one person there. It's the honest truth. Here's the only. I said, I was up there for 5 hours that morning, or 6 or 7 hours. I can't remember how long it was. But I said, I never talked to one person that was mean, that was ugly. These were the nicest people you've ever seen. And we were in there, I'm talking sardines, man, just packed in like sardines. You couldn't move. And I said, never one person said anything ugly. It was all great. And the only way I could get out of there is I had to help this lady that was on a hover round in a wheelchair trying to get out. And I had to help her. And I was just saying, wheelchair coming, let us through. And they would move out of the way. I said, but here's my question for y'all. They said, okay. And I said, here's my question for you. Why are you here at my house? You got dadgum freaking BLM and Antifa burning Portland to the ground over here. I mean, why don't you go see them people? I mean, we ain't done nothing. And I said, and the other thing is, and the lady said, well, you'd be surprised. I mean, I was like, yeah, okay, well, I'm sure I will be. But I said, I don't understand this. Why you're coming to ask us stuff when I said, I've got proof. I got video proof. I could show you, ma'am and sir. I could take you into my office or wherever, and I could show you video proof of that guy, that little short dude, the little black guy. What's his name? I don't know. He got paid $70,000. I could show you the receipts. Okay. And he's walking around free as far as I know. I said, most of those people, they were all on video saying, hey, watch this. We're going to put on this Trump hat and we're going to act like we're Trump. And I said, what about the people where the policemen were saying, come on in. And they said, yeah, we know about that. We do. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I just don't understand this. And, and they said, well, we're looking into all leads. And I'm thinking, well, they got you looking at coming to my house and somebody else's house and ain't done a blame thing. They're wasting all your time, got you running around chasing the wind when you ought to be doing, we ought to be, going after the bad guys. I said, but here's the problem. because they had said before, he said, we understand there's a lot of good people there. And I said, but let me tell you something. If some of those people that were Trump supporters, if they went in there and they did something that they shouldn't have done, then I'm all for them. They need punished, whatever. But I said, those are not the people that's doing the bad stuff. It's these Antifa people dressed up like Trump supporters. And I said, so, and she goes, well, I know there's a lot of good people that John Sullivan. Thank you, Danny. John Sullivan's his name, punk. And so I said, but here's my question for you. I said, here's what aggravates me, sir, ma'am, is, and I'm sure you're just like me here. I'm sure you're good people. Most of the FBI are good people on the lower levels, but our top is absolutely corrupt. I mean, they are guilty as sin. It's unbelievable. And nothing happens to them. I guess because the Clintons have them by the balls. And
so I'm going to stop it right there. If you want to watch it, it's not, he pretty much finishes up there and goes on to the next segment of his show. But I felt that was pertinent, especially since the interview I did last night. So if you scroll down, if you're on Facebook and you scroll down one video, you'll see the interview I did last night with my friend Andy, who talked about how the FBI and the DOJ and the Secret Service and ABC News and Disney tried to get him fired from his job, and the FBI showed up, wanted to talk to him, and the Secret Service and all that. And he talked about some of that very kind of intimidation stuff that they were doing. He talked about how, if you go back and watch that video that I did, Andy talked about how, and Brad was saying the same thing here, kind of. He said he's standing out there in the crowd. Now, mind you, he stayed for the whole thing, and he's standing out there in the crowd by the Capitol, and all of a sudden they start shooting rubber bullets. He gets hit 3 times with rubber bullets, and they start lobbing tear gas and pepper spray, and they start doing flashbangs. And he says there's little old ladies around him. He's trying to help these little old ladies out. He's covered in snot and tears from the pepper spray and the tear gas. And these little old ladies, 70 years old, he's trying to get them out. And he was like, this is it. I'm done. I'm going to die right here. That's what he said in the video. Go watch the video. And the other thing that he pointed out was that the crowd that actually entered, this group of people that actually entered the building where the Sullivan cat was, if he wasn't already in the building, they weren't pepper spraying them. They weren't shooting them. They weren't flashbanging them. No, they opened the gates and the doors and let them in. It's a total setup. We've been lied to. We're still being lied to. Everything we see, everything you see in the mainstream media is nothing but an absolute 100% total fabrication in every sense of the word. You're being lied to. They're making this stuff up. So yesterday, the verdict came in on the George Floyd case. They found this officer guilty on all charges, guilty of first-degree murder. I'm not really sure how they came to that conclusion, because my assumption was that first-degree murder, you have to have intent and you had to have prior knowledge. I don't think that there was intent or prior knowledge in this case. But then again, the media, even the judge said that because of what the media was doing, because of what politicians were doing, there's an absolute case for appeal for juror tampering. I mean, these juries' names, while they were deliberating, these jurors' names were doxed. Their names and addresses were put out. So if they came back with the wrong decision, but they came back with the right decision. So I just want you to hear some of what the media has been saying.
And now I'm going to just get really selfish. I'm glad that he was found guilty on all charges. Yeah. Even if he might not be guilty of all charges. Oh my God. I am glad that he is guilty of all charges, because I want a verdict that keeps this country from going up in flames.
Oh my goodness.
No.
What do you mean?
Look, Greg, listen.
What do you mean? No, I'm at least being honest. My neighborhood was looted. I don't ever want to go through that again.
We do not sacrifice individuals for the sake
I'm
of
saying he's
how
guilty.
people
I'm
feel.
saying I'm glad about the verdict.
Lord have mercy. So there's Greg. I liked him. I don't anymore. He's a sellout like the rest of them on Fox. And here he is saying, my neighborhood was burnt down. I don't want my neighborhood burnt down anymore. So let's bow down to these terrorists. That's what he's saying. We're being set up. We're hold on. I'll get to that in a second. Let's listen to this one. This is our good friend AOC and what she has to say about the verdict. What? Hold on. I muted the thing. Let me unmute it. Well, too much going on here. All right, let's try it again.
This verdict is not justice. Frankly, I don't even think we call it full accountability because there are multiple officers that were there.
And they've been brought up on charges.
And I also don't want this moment to be framed as this system working because it's not working. And that's what creates a lot of complexity in this moment.
She uses big words because she wants to be smart. Complexity. No, it's not complex. It's simple. That's the problem, is you need to make it complex because your political point of view is more important than reality. This is not justice served. And what we really need is more rioting so we can get all of the police on the streets to do more stuff, because we need more of this to happen, because we got to overthrow this country. And how else are we going to overthrow this country if the people don't rise up? Power to the people. The ignorance of these people is unbelievable, but there's a subtle shift, and I want to see if you guys can pick up on it. Here's another video of our good friend and valiant leader of the DNC, the smartest woman to ever live, the most beautifulest woman to ever live, is Nancy Pelosi, and she had something really wonderful to say about this verdict. I mean, she's such a caring, compassionate person. You can hear the caring and compassion in her voice.
Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice.
Let's hear that again, because it was so profound.
Thank you, George Floyd.
She even looks
for
up.
Sacrificing your life for justice. For being there to call out to your mom. How heartbreaking was that? Call out for your mom. I can't breathe. But because of you, and because of thousands, millions of people around the world who came out for justice, your name will always be synonymous with justice.
No justice, no pizza, no justice, no pizza, as they shout, because your name will always be synonymous with justice. What would have happened to George Floyd if he hadn't resisted arrest? I'm not in no way justifying what happened, because I frankly still don't know what happened. I don't know what's legit and what isn't. But what would have happened to George Floyd had he not resisted arrest? If he had not swallowed the baggie of fentanyl when he was sitting in the vehicle with his drug dealer, who refused to testify and plead the fifth. A friend of mine says, I drink the fifth. Probably would have been a better option in this particular case. What would have happened to George Floyd had he not done that? But today, from now on, we're going to worship St. George. We're going to worship him on high on the altar of social justice, because St. George has given us an opportunity politically. That's what she's saying. Thank you, St. George. Thank you for dying for our cause. We're so glad you did. These people are sick. They're messed up. They're not right. And of course, so in El Donaldo Trumpo style. Oh, I didn't load that up. Well, hold on. While this is loading, I'll stall. El Donald Trumpo style. He put together a little video to celebrate Nancy Pelosi and her worshipiness of George Floyd. Oh, may he rest in peace, oh St. George. And here it is. I just want you to check this little video out. There's Nancy Pelosi, just, she's, yes, we all have to have compassion. And so the media is out there, and they're just trying to, they're out there last night, and they was trying as hard as they didn't succeed, by the way. I couldn't find any riots anywhere. I looked when I got up this morning, I turned on all the news channels, they're still trying to pump up them riots. We need some riots. Doggone it, we need some Starbucks burnt to the ground. But they was trying last night. They was trying really, really hard to cause the riots to happen, and they weren't able to do it. And so I got this. There's this video of a Richard citizen journalist, and I gotta fast forward. I can only play a few seconds of this because there's some music in the background, and Facebook will take it down because it plays a little bit of Queen. Well, I don't have a problem with Queen, but this is for demonstration purposes. I do not have or own the rights to this music, and I didn't put the music in this video. It's playing in the background in a street fair atmosphere, so I don't own the rights. I have nothing to do. This is for demonstration and news reporting purposes. But here you go. I don't know what the legalese is. I'm just going to play a few seconds. But this is, if you look right there, this is Richard, citizen journalist. If you don't follow him on Telegram and Twitter, you should. He drives around D.C. and just puts out the counter narrative, puts out narrative. Anything that's a narrative is a lie. Remember that. So here he is. This is just outside of Black Lives Matter's Plaza down in D.C. You see all the people gathering, but understand there's no protesters there. They're all media. Everybody, we're waiting on the protest. We're waiting, protest, woo, woo, we're waiting on the protest, but it's all media. And they're standing there and they're doing their lives. Now we'll just watch what he does. We're going to play about 30 seconds of this before they'll kick me off. But watch this. Oh, hold on. Dummy. Let me turn the mute. I mute while I set up. Let me turn the mute back on.
You get 2 masks on, you start reporting the truth. Are you? Are you lying to the people? What are y'all gonna do? Nothing. This is fake news. Oh, right last night. Okay.
Yeah, the mask thing's pretty gay, bro.
Let's go. Fake news. Stop. Thank you for service. Oh, more fake news. Fake news. Fake. You're all fake. You're all not gonna touch your stuff. I'm not a criminal. You should wear 3 masks. Look, more fake news. No fake and bad, fake. Start reporting the truth. There's no riots in D.C. D.C. is where I'm from. Born and raised.
Let me just fast forward just a little bit further. He goes off. He's screaming at him, calling them fake news, and telling that everything they're doing is fake. I just want to get. I went too far, I think. The cameras. Look at all the cameras. Look at all the cameras. I think I'm echoing. Hold on. Hopefully that's better. Look at all the cameras everywhere. They're all standing around. They're all pointing at him. Everybody's now. He's the center of attention. And I don't know how much that made it on the the fake news channels, But he's out there screaming at these people. Of course, he's recording it himself, calling them fake news to their face. And the best comment was when he went up to that first guy and he talked about his mask. The camera guys, he walked by and goes, "Those masks are kind of gay, dude." Oh, man. I watched that. You got to go watch that whole thing. I posted that video on my Telegram account. You got to go watch it. It's freaking hilarious to watch that video of those guys. So this is what they're saying. They're saying breaking. U.S. Army official says, this is before the verdict, that the Army is reviewing D.C. government requests for National Guard to provide to support to the D.C. police as the Chauvin verdict preparations. D.C. government has requested unarmed D.C. Guard to help policemen with checkpoints and metro stations with a quick reacting force on standby. Also, there's 3,000 National Guard members in Minneapolis. Do you remember that when this whole George Floyd thing kicked off, that in Minneapolis, they wouldn't let the National Guard come in for like 3 or 4 or 5 days? They wouldn't let the National Guard come in. You remember that? Do you remember last year at this time when all this stuff started kicking? It always kicks off in spring when the weather's nice. You ever notice that? But all this stuff started kicking off. All this stuff started happening all over the country. We had all these riots and cities burning to the ground. That the media was, when's Trump gonna do the Insurrection Act? When's Trump gonna send in the guard? When is he gonna take over? When's he gonna crush this thing? Do you notice how aggressive police departments are now? With this a little different tone, if you take a look. Wonder why? This is what Black Lives Matter says. Biden is currently sending more military equipment to our neighborhoods than Trump did. You read that right. Our communities are being terrorized at a greater rate than they had been under Trump. Hello. We are in a movie. We are in a movie. And it's getting crazier and crazier by the minute. It's amazing the things that are happening around us. And people are like, whew, are you awake yet? Share this video. People need to realize that everything that they're seeing, everything that they're hearing, everything that they think is true isn't. The entire world is a lie. The guy I was interviewing last night was hinting at that. He said that his dad passed away, and what he was referring to is his dad passed away, and he thought the world was one way when it really wasn't. He died never knowing the truth of what the world really is. And as I've said before, and I've said recently, several times in my videos, that in 1990, 91, when I was in the Army, it was easy. I knew who the bad guy was. Communist Russia, bad. Communist China, bad. America, good. Kill a commie for your mommy. So we used to say in the Army as we were training. It was easy. But today the lines are so blurred. I don't know what's going on. Let me show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is just yesterday, the reports that came out just yesterday about what's happening in this world. Russian President Putin may recognize the DPR and LPR in the eastern Ukraine. That is the faction breakaway republics in Donbass and Crimea's governments. Ukrainian President Zelensky has signed a law of conscription of reservists for a specific period without announcing full mobilization. In other words, they're starting to draft people and build up their army in Ukraine. Reports coming in now that areas near Donbass airports in Spartak, I don't know the Russian word, and nearby districts are now coming under heavy artillery fire from Ukrainian forces. This comes 2 hours before the Russian president's speech. Putin made a speech yesterday about all this, about a bunch of other stuff, and we'll get to some of that in a second. The Belarusian president Lukashenko allegedly said that on national television that U.S. President Joe Biden spoke to the Russian president about a U.S.-led assassination attempt on him. A couple days ago, they tried to assassinate the president of Belarus. Who's they? I don't know. But evidently, he thinks Joe Biden had something to do with it. Belarus is one of the nations resisting the deep state, resisting the cabal that controls this planet. Everything you've been told is a lie. Everything. Your entire history, you're going to find out very soon, it's not accurate. So we got this. Polish Minister of National Defense announces that several dozen U.S. F-15s and F-16 fighter jets arrived in Poland today as part of the U.S., EU, CCM Air Forces exercises. Oh, that's why we always move troops, is because of exercise. Russia's moving a bunch of troops around because of exercises. China is moving a bunch of Navy forces and troops around because of exercises. That's why we do it, exercise. Yeah, they're exercising. The Russian Navy has been instructed to act proportionately to any NATO provocation in the Black Sea. Now, when they threatened Joe Biden, he turned his ships around, but France and England have moved their ships in. We have a scenario setting up for World War III. This is from the Washington Journal. It's a bunch of Russian airplanes right there, those Su-34 fighters right there on the satellite image. This says, satellite images show Russian expanding Ukrainian buildup, combat aircraft and other military equipment seen in Crimea and along the Ukrainian border as estimates of Kremlin forces grow. Estimates. There may not be any Kremlin forces. This may all be a lie. I don't know. We shall see. Russia has moved warplanes to Crimea and bases near Ukraine to an extent greater than has previously been disclosed, adding to its capability for political intimidation or military intervention, according to the commercial satellite photos of the area used for the military buildup. See photos, which review the Wall Street Journal, show Su-30 fighters lined up on a runway in an airbase in Crimea. The aircraft, which are shown in the satellite photo from April 16th, hadn't been there in late March. So we have, and there's the whole, you can get a link to that whole article on my Telegram page. And as I keep saying, that's where you can find a lot of information. Also, I share the links so you can find out where I get the information. So there's a whole bunch we have not been told going on. The Ukrainian army is right now bombarding Holovka and multiple DPR positions on the outskirts of Donbass using 120 millimeter mortars. Doesn't sound like a fun day for them. Just going through this real quick. Breaking. Britain to expand training, Operation Orbital, to train Ukrainian military forces and the armed forces of Ukraine. So we got Britain, France, Germany, and the United States on Ukraine's side. I got Russia on Crimea's side. You got Belarus on Crimea's side. You've got Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Lithuania forming a defense pact. You've got China on the move on the other side of the planet with all kinds of things happening there. The world is, we'll get to the Islamic State in a second. The world is coming to pieces on us. World War III is about to break out. But, I was talking to a friend of mine who was in the Marine Corps during the Obama administration. He was over in that part of the world. And he said the Marines were training the Christians in Crimea. Did you know Crimea is a democratically elected Christian republic? Bet you didn't know that, did you? Did you know that the Marines, after they got done training the Christians in Crimea, were training the neo-Nazi groups in Ukraine? What? The neo-Nazi? I thought we killed all the Nazis back in World War II. Evidently we didn't. And the government of Ukraine is a fascist government who uses neo-Nazi death squads to go into Crimea and killed 80,000 Christians trained by the U.S. Hello. So Russia is backing the Christian Crimea, and the United States, Britain, France, and Germany are backing the neo-Nazi Ukrainians government. not saying the Ukrainian people are neo-Nazis. I'm saying the government is a fascist government. Hillary Clinton said she is a early 20th century progressive. Did you know that? Look it up. She said that in a speech a while back. Early 20th century progressive. What does she mean by that? So did you know that in 1930 something or another, late 30s, that the Bund Party, or the Nationalist Socialist Party of America, Nazis, put 35,000 some odd people in Madison Square Garden in a rally, complete with red bands with the swastika, red flags with the swastika, and a bust of Adolf Hitler and Cease Heils and all that? Did you know that? They did. Did you know they had a real bad reputation in the 40s? Something bad happened to them, about 7 million dead Jews and several million other people, and trying to conquer the whole world, and I know, kind of a bad rap. So in the 50s, the Bund Party, the National Socialist Party of America, or Nazis, so National Socialism, that's the National Socialist Party of Germany. That was Adolf Hitler. That's where the name Nazis came from, because when you put it in German and you spelled it out, it was not, or you abbreviated it, it was Nazi. That's where the name came from. National Socialist, Nationalist, Socialist, Fascists. Fascists, they're fascists. And see, fascists hate communists. I hope you know that. They don't like each other. They're both socialists. They're just different socialists. But they hate each other. Always have. Did you know that in the late 50s or early 50s, the National Socialist Party of America was having, they had a bad rap. People really didn't want to get involved with them. They really, it was hard to recruit people in it because, they kind of, things didn't really work out in the 40s for them. So they changed their name. You know what they changed their name to? The Progressive Party of America. Hillary Clinton is an early 20th century progressive. Nancy Pelosi is a progressive. Chuck Schumer is a progressive. All these Democrats are progressives. Why is it that Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and all of them don't like AOC, don't like Bernie Sanders, don't like Elishib Tlaib, don't like Ilhan Omar? Why? Why are they kind of upset with that group? Why are those two groups at each other? I'll tell you why. Because those are devout communists. They admit it straight up. They tell you who they are. Bernie Sanders, I'm a communist. I took my wedding anniversary. I took my wedding and went on my honeymoon to Moscow during the Soviet times because I'm a communist. He'll tell you he's a communist. He's a proud communist. So's AOC. So's Rashid Tlaib. So these other people, they're communists. They'll tell you they're communists. They admit it. These other people are progressives. And progressives are fascists, Nazis. Bet you didn't know that, did you? A little bit of a history lesson. So when the DNC is supporting Black Lives Matters and Antifa, and they're going around smashing in the windows of the Nazis, Saul Alinsky 101, blame your enemies on who you are, right? So we're supporting the neo-Nazi fascist government of Ukraine against the Christians in Crimea, supported by the Soviet, by Putin. I'm telling you, I'm confused on who is what, and what is up, and what is down, and left is right, and right is left. I don't know. Oh, don't think that it's just the Democrats, because there's a bunch of Republicans that are progressives too. Mitt Romney. So moving on, says the Islamic State, Walla Pakistan. This is the ISPP, or the Islamic State in Pakistan. So same Islamic State group, but just in Pakistan, is claimed the responsibility of assassinating Afghan Taliban commander Mullah Nuki Mohammed Rabar in Peshawar, Pakistan. Okay, yeah. So who is this Taliban guy? Did you hear that Joe Biden said that he's going to have all of our troops out of Yay, he's pulling all our troops out of Afghanistan by September 11th. Why September 11th? It's interesting. Did you know that last year, over a year and a half ago, President Trump signed a peace treaty with the Taliban and the government of Afghanistan? They signed a peace treaty. And that all three parties, the United States, the government of Afghanistan, and the Taliban, have honored this peace treaty, that we've had no servicemen lost in Afghanistan in over a year. No injuries in over a year, other than, maybe tripping over something, but no combat-related injuries. No combat, really. Speak up, maybe a little here and there. You can't control everybody. Kind of a wild country there. But did you know that? Part of that treaty said that by May 1st, all NATO forces will be out. But Joe Biden has reneged on that and said it would be September 11th, which he'll renege on again. The Taliban has then said, fine, if you're going to renege on it, we're going to resume. This leader that was assassinated is one of the ones that signed that deal. He's one of the peace guys. He wanted peace, and now he's dead. And the Islamic State did that. Maybe it's a history lesson with the Islamic State. It says the Islamic State claims to have killed 2 Russian soldiers while deploying from a helicopter near al-Shaqi in Syria. So you got the Islamic State in Syria. They're active again. I thought Donald Trump ended them. They were quiet for a long time. You remember when he did what he did over there, and he supposedly pissed off Turkey, and he pulled back our forces, and oh my God, and World War III is going to break out. We're going to go to war with Russia. You remember the media? We're going to go to war with Russia. They tried to get us to go to war with Russia. They needed us to go to war with Russia in Syria over and over and over again. Donald Trump's going to stumble us into war with Russia, and the next thing you know, the Islamic State is gone. We've whooped their ass. It's over. They're down to nothing. We beat them to nothing. But here they are again, rearing their ugly head. What's going on there? The security operation is currently underway near Tal Rama in Iraq against ISIS, who has been destroying transmission lines in the region. Iraqi ground forces are dealing with an ISIS cell with close air support from the U.S. Air Force. U.S. Air Force F-16 fighter Falcons are currently up in caps from the El Dafar Air Base. What is going on here? Well, let me give you another history lesson about our neo-Nazi government in the United States. Yeah, I said that. You remember Benghazi? Y'all remember Benghazi, right? You remember what happened? You remember you've seen the movie 13 Hours when those heroes defied orders and went over there to try to rescue the ambassador, and he was already dead. But the other people that were there, you remember that story? What was that about? Well, you see, in the fallen state of Libya, that was taken out because of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. They had lots of guns and stuff. And we were smuggling weapons from Libya to Syria to support the freedom fighters that were fighting against the Russian-backed government of Syria. Remember that? The freedom fighters. Well, those freedom fighters turned into ISIS, by the way. We were giving ISIS material support. We were giving ISIS money. Did you know that ISIS was fighting with M1 main battle tanks? They were fighting. My Marine buddy told me that when he was over there, that the ISIS people, that the ISIS fighters had the new 180 millimeter, 182 millimeter, I may have that wrong, American mortar that we just came out with before they did. They were using our latest, newest technology that our military didn't have. How'd that happen? So ISIS is attacking our military. ISIS is attacking our military with our weapons. That's weird, huh? And then all of a sudden, Donald Trump takes power and takes care of ISIS. In a couple of years, they're gone. They're gone. Then Joe Biden comes back as faux president, and ISIS is back. Have you guys seen a connection here? Do you guys understand what I'm saying to you? There's lots of things happening around this world. And I don't know who the good guys are, the bad guys are anymore. But we may be looking at an orchestrated, created World War III where the United States goes to war against Russia and China simultaneously in a war that we don't have the ability, because of the cuts and the drawbacks and the shutdowns of our military, to fight. And this was supposed to happen when Hillary Clinton was supposed to be president, but Donald Trump got in the way, by the way. Put all that together in your head. See what you can come up with that one. Remember, Benghazi was about starting ISIS. ISIS was started by the United States of America. And here they are, still doing their bidding. Think about it. The color revolution in 2014 that brought the fascist Nazi government that they now have in Ukraine into power was started by our CIA. Belarus's president says that Joe Biden tried to have him assassinated. This is just the other day. We are not being told. We are not being told the truth. And I'm sure there's a whole lot more than what I'm able to piece together. Do me a favor. Go follow me on these other pages. Follow me on Rumble. Follow me on Telegram. Follow me and share these videos with people, because really, we got to get the word out. We've got to tell people what's going on. There's my Rumble. This will be loaded up there in a minute. There's my Telegram. It'll also be loaded up there in a minute. There's my YouTube account. If you're watching over there, please subscribe, ring the bell, and comment and share. If you're watching me on YouTube, please share this video, share this video, share this video, because they're squashing me, and I don't have any choice. I do appreciate everybody jumping on. I got to go to work. You guys have a great day. Keep your eyes open. Don't believe what they're telling you in the media, because it's not true. There is nothing true in the media today. Nothing. You guys have a great day.